Welcome to episode 52 of Posture Labs and Alignment Fundamentals. Thank you so much for following this journey with me. I have loved sharing a pose with you guys every single week. When I committed to doing 52 poses in the beginning of the year, I kind of was worried, I don't know if I even know 52 poses. So it's really helped me explore poses I don't do very often. It's helped me improve my teaching in person. I hope you found them useful and informative, maybe a little funny. Our last pose today, episode 52, is going to be handstand. Adho Mukha Vrksasana, upward facing tree pose. I actually didn't even know it was called upward facing tree pose because we always just call it handstand. Standing on your hands is very challenging, and I am by means no expert, so this video is just going to be very real. I'm going to give you some real tips and tricks that have helped me doing handstand. I'm not someone who can just float or press my legs up to handstand, so if you're working on doing that, this might not be the video for you. This is just learning handstand. Now, all the time in yoga, not all the time, oftentimes we focus on a straight spine. So if we're standing at Samasthiti, our gaze is forward. Of course, when we do upward salute, we look up. Oftentimes, most poses, our spine is neutral. Ideally in handstand, the gaze is to be neutral as well. So if I'm doing handstand, if I was upside down, I'd be looking like this. My spine is nice and straight. However, when you're upside down, everything's flipped. It can be really confusing. So I teach handstand by looking between the thumbs. Obviously, this doesn't feel great, but you're not holding handstand for 5 minutes. If you are, I don't really think you need this tutorial then. So I'm going to recommend that you start looking at your thumbs. Eventually, as you get more comfortable, you can try to drop your gaze back. I've been practicing handstand since 2019, so I don't know, 4 years now, and I'm nowhere near that, but if you are, great work. So for handstand, I like to place my hands a little bit wider than shoulders. Please make sure you warm up before this video. I should mention that. You should not just jump out of bed and do handstands unless you're used to doing that. Please warm up your wrists, your spine, your shoulders, all the things you'll be using. Maybe do a yoga class really quick or at least some stretching. So I'm going to put my hands on the mat, wider than shoulders. I want to grip with my finger pads. I don't want my flat hands like pancakes on the mat. That's going to put a lot of pressure on my wrists. I'm going to share that pressure in all those other small joints. Now, I want to lean my weight forward. I want to get my hips as close to stacked over my shoulders as possible. When you do a headstand, you need to feel that space where your hips are over your shoulders before you take your legs up. What's challenging in handstand is that you can't exactly get your hips over your shoulders without walking your feet up the wall, which is my favorite drill if you're using a wall for handstand. Planting your hands, walking your feet up the wall until you can hold in an L shape. But until you can get that sensation, you just want to rock a little bit forwards and backwards. So you're shifting your weight into your fingertips, high on your heels. You can always stand on blocks if you need to. From here, kind of like you would do standing splits, I would take one leg up. Now I want you to start with really tiny little hops from the other foot. They might first look like this, eventually more like this, and eventually you might get some hang time. Start with split legs, just like Pincha Mayurasana. It's just going to help you balance like a seesaw. Eventually, both legs can go up straight, but I want you to squeeze your legs together, tone your belly, look between your thumbs. Now, you're using your hands here to help stabilize, like you use your feet. When you lean forward, your weight goes forward. When you lean weight back, your weight goes back. Same thing with your hands. If you lean too much weight into your fingertips, your body's gonna propel forward. If you go back into your hands, your body comes back. So you kind of have to play around with gripping with your hands so that you don't feel wobbly. I would recommend trying that with both sides because one side's probably going to be easier than the other, but you don't know till you try, and it's important to find some sort of equality with the sides of the body. Now, like you just saw, you can kick out to the side here. When you're doing handstand hops, I would really recommend kicking out and cartwheeling off to one side instead of trying to kick all the way up and over. You're gonna land in Urdhva Dhanurasana, or upward facing bow, which is a great pose, but you might not be ready to just jump right into that. You might not be ready to do that at all. So kicking out to one side is going to be a lot safer. Of course, coming back the same way you got in is ideal. Now, another drill you can do here is kind of from like a down dog or bear pose. Spread your fingers, grip with your finger pads, bring your feet together, bend both knees and sink your butt to your heels. You're gonna jump your weight forward, trying to get your hips over your shoulders and pull your knees into your chest. Do this a few times. You know, some will start like this. Eventually, you'll get those hips over your shoulders, hugging your knees into your chest. Again, if you need to fall out, please go to one side. Now, my favorite drill for doing handstands is using a wall. Catch your breath. What you need here is just a block to measure or something else to measure you. You'll take a seat facing the wall. You'll use the block just to measure how far away from the wall that you are. And then you'll flip yourself around. This wall's a little bit challenging because we have a bar here, so a wall without something on it would be ideal. You'll place your hands in line with the block, again, a little wider than shoulders, and then start to walk your feet up the wall. You want to hold your legs at 90 degrees. Feet flexed, tone your belly, push into your hands like you're trying to push through the mat. From here, lift one leg up, hold for 5 breaths, and then do that on the other side. If that's all going well, again, this drill's a little challenging with the bar, but I'm going to do my best. So I want you to lift your other heel away from the wall, flex your top foot, that's my right leg. I'm going to slowly lower my right leg all the way down. Now, if I didn't have the bar, the goal is to keep the leg straight. So just imagine I'm keeping my right leg straight as I'm slowly lowering my toes towards my wrists and then bringing my right leg back up, maintaining that straight right leg the entire time. These drills are very challenging. I would recommend doing 3 on one side, taking a break, 3 on the other side. Those give you the idea of what it feels like to come into handstand from the ground, the muscles that you need to use, the strength it requires in your lats, your arms, your shoulders, all of those muscles that it's kind of hard to feel when you're just doing little jumps, because it's hard to know when your hips are over your shoulders until you feel it for that split second. But when you use the wall, you can kind of get familiar with that sensation. Oftentimes, it's a little frightening if you're not used to it because it feels like you're going to catapult forward. I say if it feels like that, you're doing it right. You're just not familiar with, being on your hands upright. You can also start to walk your hands closer to the wall, so your face is actually towards the wall, and then walk your hands away back into that L shape. That's a great drill to do as well to strengthen your wrists, your shoulders, and your upper body to eventually do handstand. Now, please have fun with this. It's easy to get frustrated when you have a goal and if you're not seeing progress or one day you feel really off. But at the end of the day, it's just a yoga pose. Have fun with it. When you do see progress, it's really exciting. When you do get like your first long hold, it feels really good. So just know that oftentimes, those things, they come with a lot of effort and hard work. If you only practice this like once or twice a year, you're not going to see a lot of results. Even just like 3 to 5 minutes a week of doing this wall drill or some handstand hops, maybe every time you practice yoga, you dedicate like a minute or 2 minutes to trying handstand, you'll see progress a lot quicker as long as you just keep doing that consistently. Again, I've been practicing handstand for like 4 years, and although I can kind of like 50-50, if I hop, I'll either stick it or come out, but 50% is not great odds, So I'm nowhere near the point where I would like to be, but I've come to peace with the fact that it's a practice, it's fun, some days just feel great, some days it's not there, that's okay. I hope you found this video helpful. If you want more content like this, like arm balances inversions, you might be interested in buying or renting my arm balance and inversion workshop. It's a week long. You get a new class and new tutorial, new pose each day with different drills, tips, and tricks. So I'll link that below. Hope you found this helpful. Enjoy your handstand journey, and don't take it too seriously. Thank you guys so much for joining this series. It's been really, really fun for me. I hope you enjoyed it, and of course, I hope you learned something along the way. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you back next year, which is just crazy to say. I'll see you back next year for some more yoga classes.